Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about 10 Korean pantry essentials. This is for Korean cooking specifically. Growing up as a Korean American, I did grow up eating a lot of Korean food. And although now I do cook a lot of different cuisine foods, sorry, I still have like a little nasally of a nose right now. I still feel like my specialty is Korean. I love cooking Korean food because I feel like I can be so creative and it's just fun with the sauces. Essentially the same things, and depending on the ratio, the recipe completely changes. And I just think that's really fun. I have done a video on this a while back when I first started YouTube, so this is an updated version because I did do a little bit more research into something that I will be talking about because I was confused myself. So I found it very informational for me to know the differences, and I wanted to share that with you. That's kind of why I thought this would be a good video. But let's jump right in and look at our first out of 10 pantry essentials. Number 1 on our list is gochujang, which is soy sauce. And I don't know if you've been to the Korean store. There are so many different types of soy sauces. The first one being gochujang, the second one being gochujang, and the third one being gochujang. So we'll talk about our first one, which is gochujang. I honestly don't know what they call this in English, but it looks like this, guys. First look, color-wise, it's an in-between of the dark and light. Although you really can't tell because they all look the same, in my opinion. So this gochujang, there's a very sweet taste to it. I would say it's the sweetest out of all three of them. When you cook it and when heat is added to this soy sauce, the taste changes. So I personally think that this tastes the best when you don't have to do any cooking with it, like on the stove top. For instance, like japchae, where it's like very minimal heat, or any muchim, which is like spinach, or if you're making little panchans with like bean sprouts and things like that, that would be fine. Or for dressings like Korean salads, sauces, it'll be perfect for that. My favorite way of enjoying this is for the egg butter rice. Oh my god, I love egg butter rice. That is, I think, like one of the best ways you can enjoy it. So just remember, gochujang, you don't want to really cook with it. It's more for just like sauces or like added things where you don't have to add heat. The next one we're going to talk about is gochujang. And this is basically a dark soy sauce. Color-wise, this is the darkest. And I don't think that the taste really changes with heat. So this is perfect for if you're making like braised chicken, like something where like stews, something where you're gonna be cooking it for a long time, or like galbijjim or something like that. And I personally find that the longer you cook it, the less salty it gets and a little bit more sweet it gets. So I think it's perfect for stews and stir fries, things like that. Okay, and the last one is basically a light soy sauce. It's gochujang. Guk means soup and gochujang is soy sauce. So basically you use this solely for soups. Anything where you don't want to change the color too much but still get a little bit of the saltiness and umami from that soy sauce, it's perfect for that. So for instance, if you want to add a little gochujang to your kimchi jjigae or your radish beef soup, anything where the soup is supposed to be more like clear/white kind of, but you want to get a little bit of umami from soy sauce as opposed to just salt, it's perfect for those cases. You can also use this for muchim like 콩나물 or your bean sprouts or your spinach or panchans, but this is, as the name suggests, it's for soups. So that was that with soy sauces. I never knew the difference, so I kind of had to do a deep dive, and then I started testing it out myself, and that's where I came to the conclusion of these. Hopefully you guys find it helpful. But we'll move on to our second, which is sesame oil. Sesame oil is so essential for Korean cooking. It acts as a primary flavor enhancer in these dishes. A lot of the times you do cook with it, but it adds a distinct nutty aroma and taste. So this is great for finishing touches, like a little less drizzle. It's kind of like the olive oil in Italian food. Sesame oil isn't compared to like avocado oil or olive oil where you use it in cooking or frying or anything like that, but it's honestly just to add a little glossy finish and tie the whole dish together by bringing in a nutty flavor. So you commonly find sesame oil as an ingredient for things like dipping sauces or side dishes, Korean barbecue, things like that, where you're really just looking for that sesame oil flavor. So this is the sesame oil that I use. It's this Japanese brand. I feel like all Korean moms usually use this, but there are so many sesame oils out there. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I will say though that out of like 3 I've tried, that huge container is my favorite and I've never really strayed away from it. So if you guys see it, get it. Sometimes it goes on sale at my local Korean grocery store and that's when I stock up on it. I literally have 2 in my pantry right now. But yeah, I feel like because it's so big, you'll never run out of sesame oil. And now we'll move on to 3. And we're gonna talk about fish sauce. So fish sauce is used like for all Asian cooking, but in Korean, for Korean food, there are so many types of fish sauces you can use, and they call this ekjut in Korean. Obviously, I have this fish sauce for all of my other cooking. I also use this fish sauce to make kimchi and things like that, but for Korean soups and cooking, I normally use anchovy sauce, which is 멸치 ekjut. It won't change the color of your soup, which is important when we talked about it in soy sauces. But I just feel like this 멸치 ekjut is like perfect. It's like the right amount of fishy, whereas in the other fish sauce that I showed you guys before is too strong of a flavor, and this one is not as strong. So like adding a little bit to your soup will completely change it. Every time I feel like, okay, this needs a little something, I always add fish sauce to my soup and it's game over. That's when everything changes. Fish sauce in kimchi helps accelerate the fermentation process due to the bacteria present in fermented fish sauce. So it's essential for kimchi. It's like if you're ever gonna make kimchi, you need fish sauce. And if you wanna add it to Korean soups and things like that, then get the anchovy sauce. And number 4 is gochugaru. So there are 2 types of gochugarus. There are the finely ground ones and the coarsely ground ones. This is very different from red pepper flakes, but it's essentially the same thing. Gochugaru is considered a staple in Korean cooking because it provides a signature spicy flavor and vibrant red color to a wide range of dishes like kimchi, stews, soups, sauces, and I do feel that gochugaru is the primary source of heat in Korean cuisine. I say that it's different from red pepper flakes because the taste profile is very different. It has like a really good balance of smoky and even slightly sweet. I don't know why all Korean food has to be sweet, but it is, and that's why I think it sets it apart. Like you cannot use red pepper flakes in Korean cooking or like in Korean soups or Korean kimchi. It's just different. I wouldn't say it's like so crazy spicy, but I feel that it's a perfect amount of spiciness. Obviously, how much you add depends on how spicy the dish gets, but I would say it offers a mild to moderate spice level with a slightly smoky taste. And I personally like the ones that say taeyangcho on it. So taeyangcho means that they use the original method of making gochugaru by drying the chilies out in the sun in the high heat to make it, because then once it's fully dried, they grind it up, and that's how you make gochugaru, is dried up chilies. But this is crucial if you want to make authentic Korean food. The finely ground ones kind of become like almost gochujang like when you add it, because it melts and blends right into the water. But if you look at just coarse ones, they will not really melt and bite into the soup and water. It'll just float. There are times when you need the finely ground ones, and there are times when you need the coarsely ground ones. Which leads us to our 5th, which is gochujang. And gochujang, I feel like everyone knows what this is. I mean, it's one of the main jangs of Korea. This is a foundational ingredient because it adds a complex, rich flavor profile to dishes with its, of course, sweet and spicy and savory notes. And it acts as like a key element to enhance taste of various meats, vegetables, soups, etc. And it provides a depth and distinctive red color to many Korean dishes. Like you definitely need gochujang when you make tteokbokki, which is, you know, so popular, bibimbap, all of that. So unlike just chili flakes, gochujang combines the heat of that red pepper flake along with ingredients like rice flour, and that's how you get like that thick pasty type of gochujang. And it creates a very well-rounded taste profile. And I will say it's different because the fermentation process of gochujang creates this umami flavor that seeps right into all those Korean dishes. So this is a staple. There are many jangs, but the 3 main ones I would say are gochujang, 간장, which we talked about, which leads us to our 6th essential pantry item, which is dwenjang. So I'm going to combine dwenjang and samjang together, and this is an essential. This is the third jang that we are going to be talking about today, and it provides a very deep and savory umami flavor. It has a salty and slightly earthy note, which acts as a base to many soups. Personally, my favorite Korean food, period, is dwenjang jjigae. I love the earthy notes. I love dwenjang jjigae, which is a soup made from water or a broth with this dwenjang that we're talking about right now. And you add vegetables and tofu to it. Oh my god, literally, I can eat that every single week and I will not get sick of it. It's funny because growing up, Grace was always a fan of kimchi jjigae and I was always a fan of dwenjang jjigae, and most people just like kimchi jjigae better, I think. I don't know what it is. I just love dwenjang jjigae, and still to this day. Oh, right here I'm gonna add, if you ever want to make really good dwenjang jjigae, use this. I don't know what it is, but this will make you a pro at dwenjang jjigae. You don't even need to make a broth, honestly. You just need water, add this in, throw in your vegetables, you're done. There are different types, like I've gotten the spicy one, I've gotten a clam version. They're all so good. So if you guys see this at your Korean grocery store and want to make a bomb dwenjang jjigae, you have to get this dwenjang. So dwenjang is primarily used for marinades or the stew I was talking about, dwenjang jjigae, but you can also use it to make samjang, which is essential for Korean barbecue. I feel like a lot of people do like samjang, which I think is interesting. Like when I see American people try Korean barbecue and they love samjang, I'm like, wow, that's actually really interesting. But yeah, you make samjang from dwenjang. Okay, number 7, we have oligosaccharide. So in Korean cooking, you don't see it too often, but it's basically sugar in like a syrupy form. It's very glossy, and that's like kind of the primary use for it, but it creates like a slightly sticky finish on dishes, and it's similar to how corn syrup is used in other cuisines. I think people consider this healthier than regular sugar because of its prebiotic properties, meaning it can benefit your gut health. I think in tteokbokki it's necessary. I like to add it to my gochujang braised chicken dishes, like stews, to help thicken it up a bit, because I don't want my stews to be watery. I want it to be slightly thicker, so it's good for that. But even my japchae, sometimes if I want it to have like that glassy look, I always end it with a little bit of this oligosaccharide or oligosaccharide and sesame oil. But I know that there are so many different types, like as you can see. There are sometimes like these darker colored ones, and sometimes they're like this super clear color. I don't think it matters. The taste does change depending, but honestly, anything works. Okay, number 8 on our list is vinegar. I love acidic foods, and I add a lot of vinegar to everything. So especially when I'm making bibimbap, which is that spicy gochujang noodles with some kimchi or cucumbers and things like that, I love to add a lot of vinegar to it. Even if I'm making my own bibimbap, which is the instant ones, the instant ramen bibimbap noodles, I add extra vinegar to it because I love heat from acid. That sounds really weird, but yeah, I love acidic foods and I think it's super necessary. So use vinegar when you're making bibimbap or cucumber salads or Korean dressings. And with vinegar, there are so many different types too. I don't think it really matters. You don't even have to get, vinegar from Korean stores. You can just get it from wherever. But I don't know why I like to use Korean vinegar when I'm doing Korean cooking. And that was short and sweet, but we are gonna move on to number 9, mirin. Or it's like a tae sake, I don't even know what you would call it. Essentially a Japanese rice wine that you can use in Korean cooking as well. And it helps tenderize the meat and make it juicy, and also helps get rid of like meat smell while adding sweetness to it, which is, again, sweetness. So this works well in Korean barbecue like bulgogi or galbi. And because of this sweetness factor, it helps balance out all the savoriness from the dishes. So mirin is basically used to help get rid of smell, but it adds a lot of flavor. When I'm making Korean soups and I add meat to it, so like in radish beef soup, seaweed soup, I cook my meat in some mirin. And you get this like slightly savory umami taste from mirin because also mirin is fermented. And it has a similar taste to sake. I would say like if you don't have mirin, you just go ahead and use some taste sake or sake, but mirin has a higher sugar content and lower alcohol content. There are different types of mirins, like the rosemary ones. I have gotten the rosemary ones. It's not so heavily rosemary, but I just think meat rosemary. So I've tried the rosemary one. You can just get a regular one. There are different like flavors that you can get with it, but be creative and test it out. Okay, last, we are number 10 and we have sesame seeds. So sesame seeds, when I'm talking about toasted white sesame seeds or black. I always keep both because depending on the dish and its color, I feel like sesame seeds as a garnish can help the dish to pop. So certain times I'll use black, certain times I'll use white. This is key because they add a good flavor and crunch to your dish. So normal times, this is used as just a finishing touch. Sesame seeds are rich in calcium, magnesium, fiber, and B vitamins. The sesame seeds are essential. I'm lucky enough that my grandma, she toasts the sesame seeds and gives it to me, which is why mine isn't so like white. It's like slightly brown. But I do think when you toast it at home, it brings out more nutty flavor. But sesame seeds are used in almost everything, like japchae. I don't know why I'm talking about japchae so much. Japchae and all your Korean barbecue meats as like a garnishing for all of your steams, like whether it's like chicken or kalbi or whatever it is. It's used to like garnish the top. Even when you make a simple one bowl dish of whatever, I add it in there. But yeah, I think sesame seeds are crucial, which is why I kind of wanted to end it with it. But anyways, I hope you guys found today's video helpful and insightful and learned a thing or two. And I'm showing you guys all the ones that I use when I'm doing my cooking. So if you guys are looking at my shorts or my YouTube things and wondering like which soy sauce I use, that's the exact soy sauce or that's exact sesame oil that I'm using. If you guys have further questions, leave them down below and let me know in the comments if you found it helpful or if you want me to make more videos like this. And I'll see you guys on our next video.